So I get to Alberta, and I go to this court hearing. The judge again refuses to listen to it and says we're going to put it off for another 3 months. And in the meantime, I'm living in a women's shelter, trying to find a place. Alberta has this boom going on, so rent was outrageous. I am so high stressed. I'm fighting evil. Now that I'm in Alberta, my ex now is increasing the level of abuse that I had to deal with. That's why I had moved out of the province, is because I would lose my mind if I had to stay in the same province dealing with the one-on-one abuse that this man does. So his level of abuse increased now that I'm in the same province as him. And I'm dealing with a court that doesn't want to deal with any court issues. They want to constantly put it off, finally get into court. And they end up saying, we're not going to listen to it because it took you too long to get to court. And it's like, friggin' took me 4 years. Not one friggin' lawyer would help me out. Yeah, I mean, you can't get a lawyer if you have no friggin' money. And so you got to learn the justice system. So I had to go to school, basically, and learn the justice system myself. And every time I'm presenting my case, I'm hearing judges say, well, the first time I tried, this judge says, you're in the wrong courtroom. You got to go down the street. So then I go down the street. It takes 6 months. And they say, oh, you're in the wrong courthouse. You got to go back where you came from. So I go back there. That takes months to go and see. You know, like the whole process, it was the justice system that made it take that long. And then when I get in front of them, that's what they tell me is, we're not going to listen to this because it took you too long. And to make a very long story short, here I am trying to correct an order that says, no, I should be the one collecting child support, not him. Evidence was definitely not presented. My own attorney was saying more bullshit lies and telling me I can't say a damn thing. So I'm in this court, and no judge would let me even be there by myself. I wasn't allowed to represent myself. I was basically ordered that if I went into court, I had to have a lawyer. The only lawyers I could afford was a legal aid lawyer. A legal aid lawyer that wouldn't read your file and won't present any information, and she's just off the top of her head coming up with shit that I know is damn wrong. So to make a long story short, I ended up owing this guy advanced child support. He definitely owed me some money. So the money that he basically owed me, the only thing my lawyer got was her own fees and the advanced child support that I owe my husband. And he got to keep that because the court had ordered that I owe it. So it's like, I ended up getting a cold then, because I was totally losing my mind. And I'm starting to see these labels being put on me. These bipolar was one of them, and it's like, where the hell are you getting bipolar from? You know, I'm not seeing any symptoms of being bipolar at all. People are saying that I'm depressed. I'm not depressed. You know, I'm fighting a friggin' system that, yeah, it's kind of getting somebody down, but I'm not depressed. I always had this will to live, and I'll be strong. And then when I started seeing this crap go on, I was mad as friggin' hell. So then I'm being told that I have an anger management problem. It's like, no, my anger is, you know, justified. Anybody would be angry if they walked a mile in my shoes. And it was only you could see this reflection of yourself, that when somebody's judging my behavior, it's like I was almost turning into it. You know, if they say that I had an anger management problem, it's like that got me even more angry because I'm trying to tell you something and you don't want to listen. So it's almost like you got to tell them a little louder, or, you know, you're frustrated. So it just seems like every time somebody put a label on me, I could see myself turning into that. So it was like, okay, take a step back. This is when I really started using this water concept. I needed to get the hell out of that area, because after that lawsuit, all of a sudden you'd think it would be a conspiracy theory, but every media, the news, radio, or TV, radio, all I'm hearing is, if you want access to the justice system, legal aid is your way, and the government's there to provide you with a voice. And it's like, and it's like, why would you put that advertisement on when you clearly didn't represent me? You know, it's almost like they were trying to fill my brain with something, of laughing in my face, saying, we're this evil system, and we're going to let the public know that some service is out there when we clearly know it's not, but we're just going to manipulate people into believing in a system that really isn't there. So I ended up getting that cold one, because I was so friggin' worn out. Needed to get out of town, didn't have any money whatsoever. I meditated on this bottles. I just went in my room. People might have assumed I was depressed, but I wasn't at all. I was like, no, I need to get myself centered again. I need to get, it was, when did I make this magic happen? What was going on inside me? And it was all of these intentions. So I put all of those intentions on that bottle, and with all of these complaints. And I sat in a room for, I believe it was like 4 days, and all I did was drink this water, and every time I drank this water, I would feel what it felt like to feel those intentions. I wasn't depressed. I was meditating. I was heavy meditating. And by the time that ended, there was like $3,000 or $4,000 that just magically appeared, and it was enough for me to move. I was living in like a closet in one of my son's room with my daughter. At the time, my son was older. By this time, all of my kids were over 18, except for my youngest, and she was living with me, although the courts believe she was living with her father. So she was basically homeless with me, and I needed to just get away and calm down. So one thing led to another. I ended up moving to this town, Soyuz, which was the most healing area. Also has a long history of people that have been in war. So the mentality of people were really screwed up there. Lots and lots of abuse there. So it was really hard to blend in with other people, but that's where my healing actually took place. It was a very small town, very warm, hot weather for my muscles. It was really good for that. Real nature outside my door, which was really healing. And at that point, I'm trying to, how do you fit back into the world again? How do you, it's like everything crashed and burned. I seen this picture that nobody else could see. Everybody's believing in this justice system, and it's like, there ain't no justice. It's impossible to get a justice system. O.J. Simpson was the first sign that we've seen that it's about money. The guy with the money is the guy that's going to win this justice system. Judges are biased. They will only see what they want to see. They don't want to see what the evidence is. They will prejudge the evidence and judge whether that evidence is even heard or not. Yet, if you want to take a prototype of any type of, you want to build a plane and see if that plane flies, you want to see, the prototype of the plane, put it in the environment and see if it actually does what it says it's going to do. So, if you've got a problem that you're supposed to go to court, you want to see all of the information to see if, what's wrong with it, to make a just decision. But our justice systems only want to receive partial information, which is why they can't tell the difference between right or wrong. We've all said that the justice system isn't perfect, but it's the best we've got. Well, we know we can do better. But trying to communicate with the world now was next to impossible. And I'm starting to see things that other people don't see. And so then this voice in my head working these bottles said, okay, you need to find science to prove what it is you're talking about, because nobody's going to understand a word you're saying, which led me to find this holodynamics, which explained everything. It'll explain the economic system, and it'll explain the justice system, the political systems, the medical systems, religion. It'll explain every single system and the problems with them, but also the solutions. And in there, this guy has been curing cancer, AIDS, mental illness, every illness that you can possibly imagine. This guy's been curing for over 20 years. On the concept of everything has a cause. Get rid of the cause, and you can actually cure the disease. So, I know I've never gotten sick because of a cold. I never got cold or flu. So I knew that, okay, illness isn't really what we think it is. That people get colds generally because they're worn out. We think that it's viruses, but because my eyesight is so bad and I, see a bigger picture all the time than a tunnel vision, small picture of things, there's probably a lot more germs that, because my house was never ever sterile, so my immune system probably is so strong I don't get colds or flus. And also, it is definitely the mentality. But this brings me to the suggestion that, is the illnesses that you have not curable? Where do you get cancer from? Where do you get any of these illnesses that you're suffering from? If there's a cause to everything, if everything is causal, every problem that you experience, not even just medical, but this global situation has a cause. Anybody that's dealing with a mental illness, there's a cause. Anybody that's on a welfare system, there's a cause. We're so busy judging things, judging it based on our beliefs. And if your beliefs are totally wrong, the judgment that I'm seeing is everybody that's on a welfare system is lazy and don't want to work. Now, that was not my experience. Because I ended up on this disability, I'm meeting a lot of people in my neighborhood that are also on this, disability. They're on welfare. And you know what? All of these people want to work. I never seen such hard-working people. But they know a picture that other people don't know, because there was a cause that got them onto a welfare system. And generally, it's crime, it's abuse that nobody wants to solve. And because they see this different picture, they can't fit within society. They see all things that are wrong within our society, so they don't fit in. Kind of causes a little anger, kind of causes a lot of pain. So a lot of them are on drugs. A lot of them have drug problems because of the level of pain they're dealing with, because they're being misjudged all the time by society. But they're the genius people. I mean, I never seen so many smart, ingenious people than people that are on a freaking welfare system. But they happen to suck at selling people on the idea of what's right. That's why I started this YouTube channel, because I need to learn how to communicate effectively. We're in this age of truth, but nobody really wants to learn the truth. You think you're awake, you think you're finding out what's true, and it's like there's many levels of truth. And the biggest lie is illness and death. I'm going to continue on another tape.